Hello and welcome to this cosy little corner of the marketplace, tucked away just next to the steam tunnels entrance here, which is going to be our next destination. If we look like we're hiding from the outside world, we probably are. We've taken some beatings on Reaper, I think it's fair to say, but we've persisted. Now the Reapers themselves are a problem because we have nothing to hold them, so that's a bit of an issue. But the against the Red Crowns, the stones of petrification have done a really good job for us. I'm not bothered how long it takes to kill them, as long as they're neutralized, that's great. So that's been a plus. I gleefully hammered the some of the a flock of birds in the one of the gatekeepers quests with the last of our dragon breath. So that was certainly one of the cookies that I would recommend. Is it the Fernia one? But we paid for that because we got roasted ourselves in the elemental gatekeepers quest. You know, the one with all the fire elementals and mephits and things. And for good measure, there was a couple of plague reapers popped up in one I did recently, and they beat me so badly they broke our nice purple robe. So yeah, not always smooth sailing, but I think we're doing okay. The highlight at this level has been the acquisition of the lighting the candle imbue toggle, which I've remembered to put on. I haven't actually done a quest yet with this on, so this is going to be the first one. This is going to be our trial run with it. We have a couple more imbue dice from the cores, so hopefully should be not too shabby. What else do we have to share? Gear wise, just one item. I gave up the press the right key. I gave up the seeker for the critical hits that was on the belt in return for a nice boost to our hit points. If you look, you can see it's about 20 extra hit points. Some healing amp, which is very important for the way we reacquire our health via the fists of light on the enemies. And yeah, that's it. False life and healing amp, so a very important item for us. The more I begin to play this character, the more it sort of reinforces the fact, you know, the problems the melee has as compared with a ranged or a caster, neither of which have to be in contact with the opponents like ever ideally, whereas we do. And like to kill a reaper, we have to go up in its face and you know, hit it while it's hammering away at us, and that's not a very palatable experience. So we need the false life, we need the healing amp, we need everything like that. That's the only piece of gear I changed at 4. Now at 5 I'm hoping for a full phase set, and one of the things I'm going to have to pay attention to is the resistances. You might have seen there we do have some resistance on the belt, but there's nothing else. The 10 is kind of a base level, I think. So we why do we have 9 on fire? I think we must have a negative for fire somewhere. Yeah, gonna have to start putting some augments into the gear, I think, for this, because that fire elemental quest we got absolutely roasted by the fire damage. I'm pretty sure evasion will help, you know, avoiding some that comes from traps or from ranged spells, but not all the time. So we're gonna need to be mindful of that, because we've got nothing else I don't think that could cast resistance on us. Otherwise, in better news, our dodge is up to 18 now in Reaper, which is great. We've taken our Reaper points, spread them about a little bit. I put a point in strength because we're using that at the moment to hit and damage. That's very nice. Double strike. So that combined with our quick strike is giving us momentarily over 50% to double strike when we have the two boosts going. So that's nice. A little more melee power. I don't think we're not using anything with tactic DC at the moment, but that could come in handy later on down the line. I put a point in each of these other Reaper's Memento to give us more on this one, so we've got 4 charges of that, and contrary to previous lives where I've kind of left that to one side because the casters seem to have enough, without it, this time we're leaning quite heavily on that for the double strike and the more damage, because the quicker things die, the less damage they can do to us. So you become very conscious of either neutralizing or getting rid of the most important threats. I've got used to looking for that petrify stone. Every time I see a nasty looking crown, it gets it, and more often than not it does the job for us, so that's great. Does it say what kind of a save? Yeah, it's a fortitude save. 24 fort save, so that's not terrible at the low levels, is it? I know there are versions higher up, aren't there, of the petrify stones, but I think we'll stick with this one, and once we see it tailing off, we'll just save it for another life. Hopefully by the time it starts tailing off, we'll have other means to I mean, that's the one concern I have at the moment. We just don't have any kind of crowd control, do we? I've been experimenting a bit with these flash stones to varying effects. Things are saving, but I mean, if you can just make something blind for a little bit, that's something. The shard storm is certainly nowhere near as effective, in my opinion, as the blade barrier was. So not as delighted with that. We do still have the blade barrier, and I meant the dragon breath, didn't I? The dragon breath was just instant and big impact. I've tried the shard storm, and that's not as, let's say, it's not as abusive. So we're beginning to run out of our cookies, but they have carried us through the fledgling levels, so that was good. More on reflex save, which is great for our evasion, and more hit points in general from the points invested in the Reaper tree, so that's good. Resistances I've mentioned. Oh yes, I've sussed out that the healing key finishing move is not actually an attack, so you don't have to be in front of an opponent to do that. Once it's available, you can use it whenever. Use it when running away from an opponent, if that's better. I told a lie. There is a second piece of gear that I exchanged. A few more on dodge. Sapphire of moderate fortification against those awful critical hits, so we've got a really decent 80% at level 4 there. Can't stress enough those sapphires. Light at level 1, moderate at level 4, and heavy at level 8. Just insanely good for the level they come available at. The heavy one gives you 100% fortification from level 8, which is really, really good. Generally speaking, those can be found in and around the marketplace, and if not the marketplace, the shard exchange. Oh, I've got a heavy shield in there. Let's see if we can find a... Yeah, there you go, Sapphire of heavy fortification. Now that one's a bit pricey at 50 shards, but they can be picked up from there. Okay, and equally it's a way of making shards for those of you who are lucky enough to drop one or find one. They can be sold for shards because they're very much sought after, those things. I would recommend to put them on the well, as I have here. This is all my main character's old leveling gear, and if you're going to be doing quite a bit of heroic leveling, then I would recommend to slot them. If it's just like a one and out, then maybe less so. Broken armor I mentioned. Oh yes, I've taken the liberty of adding Ruby of the Snow Peaks onto our quarterstaff. It's still the same quarterstaff, but it's made it. I couldn't add it earlier because it's a minimum level 4 augment, so it makes the staff a level 4 now. So we had to manage before with something else. Now we've got this Ruby of the Snow Peaks, which hopefully will give us a few. You can see the freezing ice effect there. Hopefully a few freezes of the opponent. And as we have the strike through going, maybe we get more than one chance to freeze an opponent, which would be very nice. I guess the proof will be in the pudding. Again, this is the first quest in which I will have tried this Ruby, so hoping for good things from that. I've just realised I've run out of potions of heroism. I won't bore you by going to the Kundarak and fetching more. We'll manage without for now. I think our saves are reasonable enough as is anyway. Okay, venture on into the steam tunnels. There are 4 quests in here in all, for those of you who didn't know. 3 of them are in a chain, and they go... Oh, I'm going the wrong way, that's not good. They go levels 3, 4 and then 5, and the last one, the level 5, is a toughie. You saw me doing it last live. Is it called the Halls of Chanticleer, the one with the traps all over the place? Our build actually would be ideally suited to that with the evasion we have, but I showed it last time, so we're going to show the first one this time around. It's always nice when you go back into a wilderness area from having done the Reaper quest and you suddenly feel like a god. So this is it, the Kobold's Blockade, and I didn't speak to the person at the entrance. Oh dear, that's more than typical of me, I'm sorry to say. So sorry for wasting this valuable minute of your time. Okay. Note to self, next time there's something like that, speak to the person and prepare that in advance. Dear me. Okay. Nearly went the wrong way again. So for moments of panic we have a couple of things that can blind. We have a blade barrier still there. We have the shard storm, and there's a nightmare lance. I think we could start using that because I don't think we're going to be one-shotting much anyway. Also for panic we've got, well I plan to make full use of these, the Reaper's Strike for the double strike, and of course the quick strike. And just as we're going on all the time, healing the Fists of Light for the targets to heal us when we hit them. And then periodically we'll get the finishing move, the healing one. We still have our healing Greater Vigor cookie, along with some potions, which again are running quite low. And our healing hands for the, oh god, there's a Plague Reaper and we're going to die moment. Why would you heal when there's a Plague Reaper and you can't heal anyway? Just ignore me. Let's just get our little buffs on. I think I'll be selective this time with the buffs so you don't have to sit through them all. We'll have jump, I think. We'll have shield. And we'll have the Death Ward one. I don't think there's anything that would cast death magic against us apart from a Famine Reaper, so it's good to have against them. crikey, look at that. That would have been awesome for the Dragon Breath, wouldn't it? Oh, Famine Reaper, Fear Reaper, oh Jesus Christ. Healing Hands. Healing Hands again. Now, what probably saved us there, well, aside from the Healing Hands, was the fact that we could evade the lightning bolt. Now, I didn't see because I was busy crapping myself, but I'm guessing we took no damage from the Kobold Shaman there. Without that, we would have been torched. Nice little beginning. Makes me less guilty about throwing in the odd cookie when the game does things like that. Let's have a little look as well. Oh my god. Have a little look how we're doing with the these imbues. Can we see some difference here? Not today, sir. Not today. Nice use of the stone, petrify stone thing. Again, we took some punishing damage. That would have been another candidate for Dragon Breath. I should have probably done a blade barrier there and just had done with it. But we need to know that we can cope with these situations. Should use a shrine as well if we're lucky enough to come across one to restore the healing hands. Yeah, what a welcoming committee. Famine Reaper, Fear Reaper. Happy days. It's another one of these. I always seem to say this at the start. Difficulty-wise, if we were doing it on Elite, I'm pretty sure we'd be just strolling through. So I kind of feel duty bound, especially for the recorded ones, to put it on a more difficult level. Otherwise it'll just be a cakewalk and it's not particularly entertaining, is it? Have we run out of keys? Is that why we can't do the... Right, let's try the healing key. There we go, nice one. Yes, we're low on key. Okay, well let's do the meditation. Regain a little bit then. I don't think that was strictly necessary, but it's an occasion to use it, isn't it? I think our key sits at the concentration skill, doesn't it? So it sits at the moment at 21 without falling down. So let's stop that there. Okay. We're going down there, aren't we? Some of our buffs are going to be running out shortly. Okay. Now this section, if you didn't know, if you actually hit these things, it spawns opponents, I think spiders. So try to avoid doing that if possible. It's not a disaster if you don't. Oh, see there, I've hit one. I think we could probably just disappear down the hole before it pops up. We could probably just run away from these, but I'm not going to. I don't want them wandering around behind me. Now that was the first trigger of the freezing ice, so that was great. Zombies, you might recall, we're not that strong against because they resist our... they've got damage resistance against our bludgeon damage. Whenever that symbol pops up, that means you've hit them with the healing light, fist of light thing, and then any further hits against that opponent, you will get the bonus Ooh, 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 ooh. Get the old Reaper strike in there. Okay, pick up the key, and while the strike is running, let's keep going and see if we can nobble some other ones. Nice job. Reaper strike still just about going. Yeah, we're making some good inroads here, aren't we? See how good we are when there's no Reaper to contend with, and how quickly things get derailed when the Reaper is there. Okay. Yes, what was I saying? Yeah, whenever that symbol, that white symbol comes and that little noise, that sort of ooh, that's when you've hit the thing with the healing attack. And from that, I'm almost certain that you can hit more than one target, you know, with the strike through, and so have two of them healing you, or more eventually. So that could be pretty nice. Just got to go and pull a valve down here. Now that, as I recall, is a trap, so I'm not going anywhere near that. I think I'm right in saying I've died in that trap. I like how we're using the quarterstaff to paddle through the water. And we have a customer. See, there we had the symbol, and then you saw the healing thing. And it'll suit me just fine if this can be the focus. Just, you know, for the finishing moves, just not bother too much about anything else, and focus on this heal and the healing key. Now I am noticing straight away, again we've run out of key here. I'm noticing that now we've taken this candle thing and we have one less key on hit. We seem to be struggling to... Oh crikey, we got hit by a trap. That's unusual. Did we roll a 1? No, a 6. Oh wow, okay, they're quite high. What do we have? That'll teach me not to take the potion of heroism, won't it? 18 is still not terrible. Yeah, I think we need to keep an eye on this key business. And maybe, at least for now, I might need to rethink my strategy with that imbue, because if it's stopping us doing our healing thing, that's not great, is it? Yeah, we are still generating key, aren't we? Maybe I'm just going to have to be a bit more selective. I was just throwing it in all the time whenever it was off cooldown. Perhaps I have to be a bit more selective as to where I use it. Another nice trigger of the frozen ice. Liking that. The imbue is doing a decent job for us, isn't it? You can see the, what is it, force... Oh, force is on crit only. Fire damage is what it's dealing. Oh, that needs to be stopped. It's saved. Bugger. I could and should probably just run past that. Look at the damage it did. My reflex from the last life to go and pick up the soul. And we're getting a bit low on the old healing potions now too. I think we're not too far away. Oh, in fact, this is the end, isn't it? Yeah, okay. We just have one of our Reaper boot. Oh, nice trigger there. Reaper strike. Come on, let's go and get stuck in. Hood of Unrest for some extra dodge. We probably got... can we freeze you with the stone? No. I think we could have done, but he saved. You see the healing coming in. Nice. So maybe we're already getting to the level where these low-level petrify stones are going to be failing more often than not. It's a fortitude save, though, I think it said, so it should work reasonably well against... do you know, I just realised I hadn't completed the quest. Against casters and archers and nasty things like that that hang around in the background. I'm going to come out of here because the next one is a level 4, I think. So we may as well take our level before attempting that one. I don't think that went too badly. I think the opponents saved the worst for the start. The imbue seemed to be doing reasonably well. I'd have to watch it back to see what kind of extra it was doing. We did get one or two holds from the freezing ice, didn't we? I'm wondering if I did the right thing, removing the... because we could have had a damage dealing ruby in that slot instead of the freezing ice thing. What do you folks think about that? Do you think it was the right thing to try and slot that, or should really have gone for a damage one instead? I quite like my crowd control, so whenever it goes off I'm more than happy for that, but I'm not sure in this instance if it was the best, because killing opponents is also a form of crowd control, I guess. Otherwise, so against big crowds we struggle, don't we, because we have nothing at the moment to deal with that. So I tend to try to back up and not let them surround us and just sort of focus on the 2 or 3 at the front and chip away at them, and or maybe engage in a doorway or a tight space so they can't all come and swarm us. I didn't in this quest, but I really should have made use of the blinding cookies that we have. Those big packs of kobolds at the start, we could really have done with that, couldn't we? It's definitely a symptom of my play that I seem to only be able to focus on 1 or 2 things at once. Like I remember to do the double strike Reaper thing, and to click the quick strike thing, and the healing key attack, and the stones for a nasty red crown, but I completely forgot the blinding potential we have, which could have worked well against a group. So that's a bit unfortunate. But it does mean we have them for the quests going forward, because we had 25 of each, if you remember, and once they're gone, and that's it, we're on our own. So we've already made good use of them, situationally. Right, I will go and take the level 5, try and put us on some nice Fey gear, and put some resistances on for the elements with some topaz augments if we've got some space for them, which we should have, because some of the Fey gear will probably be being used for the first time. Melee Fey gear, yeah. Let's have a look, see what we can find. Hopefully boost ourselves up a little bit from where we're at now. I'm wondering what we can do for damage reduction. I have a mimic cloak which has DR5 on it, which might help. Because at the moment we've been relying on this, and things are getting to the stage now where they have magic attacks anyway, so it's not being reduced by the 5 from that. Right, I think that's more than enough waffle for one episode. Thank you very much as always for looking, and if I make it as far as the next one, I will speak to you then. Take care.